Madden 27 surprised me. The last half a dozen Madden games have almost conditioned me to the point where, after a Madden entry that makes notable innovations and improvements, like Madden 26, I basically expect the following year's game to be underwhelmingly similar to that previous title and lack any notable improvements or distinguishing features of its own. Now granted, Madden 27 isn't some drastic overhaul from the game that we got from EA last year, but it's not exactly a lackluster, disappointing, shameless cut and paste job either, and that's what I was expecting. Instead, it's more of a hybrid between those two extremes. Madden 27 is essentially the game we got last year, but it's very clearly been polished, added to, and improved upon for the last 12 months, in noticeable ways. The fact is, these games do release every single year, and the margin for potential improvement between entries is only so large. It's only possible for Madden to get a certain amount of better from year to year. That's the reality. The problem is, for many Madden games in the last decade, the game hasn't really felt better at all. Rather, it's been a carbon copy or perhaps even a watered down version of the previous game, with a $70 price tag slapped on it for a roster update and some underbaked features. What the Madden community has wanted was for the developers to actually care about the product, to care about the quality of the experience being provided. Madden 27 has directly addressed a lot of the complaints I had with the previous year's titles. It doesn't feel rushed, unfinished, or unrefined. This is actually a decently made Madden game, and it's improved in the areas the previous game was lacking, added the things the previous game was missing, and finally feels like a game that isn't intentionally cutting corners. Madden 27 is a finished game, without glaring or frustrating issues. The modes have depth and detail, and the on-the-field action is fast, fluid, and fun to control.
They'll keep it on the ground with Cook. Whoa! What a move! He's in! James Cook, touchdown Buffalo!
Starting with just fundamental gameplay and feel, something about Madden 27 feels just a little more polished than last year. The lighting and reflections appear slightly improved, but it's the actual moment-to-moment gameplay that feels more finely tuned than last year's entry. Barring some limited exceptions, player animations are generally much less jarring, wonky, or out of place. You can actually go entire halves in this game without seeing players do something incredibly goofy, like flip over each other or walk into the referee like they don't know he's there. Player movement feels more refined as well. Call me crazy, but it's almost like the players visually appear to have an actual stride instead of the stifled shuffling type of sprint animation from years past. Running backs like James Cook and Jahmyr Gibbs display visible explosiveness, speed, and elusiveness that is genuinely awesome to watch or to control. Gibbs especially would explode past the line, make a cut, rocket upfield, appearing fast, lithe, and difficult to tackle. I don't know what EA did to polish off how this looks, but this actually looks really good. It looks like this man could break for 40 yards on any given run because he's just that fast and elusive. And I cannot remember Madden displaying that sheer element of speed and agility in its players in half a dozen games, so that was really impressive to see. The dynamic weather is also an improved feature this year, because while they added heavy snow to the options last year, you'd still only be able to select that it was going to snow or rain all game or be sunny all game, when obviously that's not how weather typically works. So it makes much more sense for the rain to come halfway through the game, or the snow to get progressively heavier as the game goes on. These are a nice attention to detail that elevate the weather option from a simple gimmick.
Throwing is low. They'll try to hit him with a screen. That is caught near the pylon. He's in for the touchdown.
The presentation packages for Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football all return in Madden 27. And you get all the walkouts that you got for the nighttime games in Madden 26. But here's the kicker. They've added all the ones that weren't in Madden 26. And I was very, very critical last year in my review that they only had nighttime walkouts for like half the teams in the NFL. I thought that was ridiculous. I was like, did you guys just run out of time? Did you just figure it, you didn't have to finish? I think what they actually ended up doing was only doing walkouts for the teams that had night games that year, but that's silly. If your favorite team is a team that isn't good enough to have a night game, like, I don't know, the Titans, sorry Titans fans, then I think that you should get a walkout for your games in franchise mode or just in quick play. And this year, that's what they did. They went in and they added walkouts and tradition stuff and presentation stuff for all 32 teams. And that's the way it should be. And I'm glad that they did that. And that gets points from me. I'm glad that they went in and added those walkouts, and it's great to see.
Your 2026 Tennessee Titans.
Now, let's talk game modes, notably Superstar and Franchise. Put simply, Madden 27 provides the same drastic improvements that Madden 26 made to Superstar and Franchise, and then offers something more in each mode, rather than simply repackaging the exact same improvements as Madden 26. Superstar mode still revolves around boosting your relationships with teammates, coaches, and brands, which I thought was a great rework to the whole mode last year. It also now features an archetype system where you can develop your player into a mold similar to a current superstar like, say, Derrick Henry. You can also develop into the mold of a Hall of Famer, since Madden 27's biggest new addition to Superstar mode is the quest to become the GOAT, which is an entire quest system that tracks your milestones in 3 different areas, those being your skills, on-field achievements, and overall popularity. Stuff like this is just a net positive. EA didn't have to add this, they could have just repackaged the exact same Superstar mode, but they didn't. They actually cared about adding something new and interesting. To that end, you can now make your player a defensive back or an edge rusher, unlike in Madden 26, 25, 24, and who knows how far going back, which was pretty inexcusable as an omission, but that's now been remedied. After the issues with College Football 27's progression and microtransactions for Road to Glory, I also had pretty strong concerns that Superstar and Madden 27 would be reworked into a microtransaction hell designed to throttle player progression and incentivize purchase upgrades. But as far as I can tell, the changes to progression only provide additional options for player abilities and don't seem to slow progression down or compel the purchase of skill points in any discernible way. But that's not even all. I've been complaining for 2 years now, ever since they added one Kate Scott to this game, and ever since her voice graced those airways where she said, "And Patrick Mahomes throws another touchdown to Xavier Worthy." I wanted them to make it to where you could choose which announcer team you wanted in the game modes, not just in quick play, in Superstar and in Franchise, and they finally did it. You can select which announcers you want in every single game, in every single mode, Franchise and Superstar, whether that be Mike Tirico and Greg Olson or one of the other 2 commentary teams. You can finally select which is your preference, and they will be the ones commentating the games in those modes.
It's first down, and they'll run. Down the sideline, past the 40. And he is gone. 74 yards. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
Franchise sees some other notable improvements beyond just being able to select your preferred commentary team, including an all-new media center and media alerts. These function like an evolved and streamlined version of the newspapers and radio shows from Madden's franchise mode many iterations ago, whereby you'll be notified of big free agent signings, franchise tag placements, or big trades happening around the league. You can even stay up to date with news happening in your team's particular division. Is it as good as having Tony Bruno back? No, far from it. but having news and media as a fully fleshed out feature in franchise mode increases immersion and makes the league feel like an actual existing space. To that end, off-season free agency has also been fully reworked as well. Free agency is now a full-fledged competitive race between teams to sign players within a finite window of time, just like real-life free agency during the offseason. On top of this change, players actually have personalities now, and will negotiate their contracts to get the things that they prioritize. There's an entire new system of negotiating contracts with mechanics for patience and interest, and the player will go back and forth with you until they're either enticed enough by the value to sign with your team, or you've exhausted their patience by failing to meet their contractual preferences. The media center, player personalities, and free agency rework all inject more atmosphere and immersiveness into franchise mode, which it was in desperate need of. It's a shame that no improvements were made to the halftime update, NFL draft presentation, and draft scouting systems though, as those features also desperately needed to be replaced or improved. But the injections of personality and realism into the news coverage and free agency suffice for a decent franchise mode upgrade, on top of the already drastic upgrade the mode received a year ago to the coaching progression and skill system in Madden 26.
We have a deal. One of the top receivers has agreed to terms on a contract extension that will likely keep him and his quarterback very happy.
Now, do you absolutely need to run out and buy a copy of Madden 27 if you already own Madden 26? No, I don't think that's necessary, or that upgrading from last year's title is a must, because the core experience is fairly similar. Madden 27 isn't leaps and bounds better than last year's game, and a lot of the things that make Madden 27 a good game should have been in Madden 26. Madden 27 feels like the game Madden 26 should have been. On the one hand, it shouldn't take a year for a game to release in a finished and polished state. But on the other hand, Madden 27 doesn't need a year of improvements to be a solid fleshed out experience. Unlike Madden 26, which needed a year, Madden 27 is already that way at launch. The bottom line is, while I don't want to be overly complimentary or give tons of undeserved praise to features that were left out of the previous year's game simply because EA took the time and effort to add them into this one, I do want those improvements to happen from year to year. While it's not groundbreaking or revolutionary to just improve your game in the next iteration, the polishing and fleshing out of modes and features by filling in the areas where the previous title was lacking is the type of improvement I want to see in a newly released Madden game. Madden 27 isn't amazing just by improving upon last year's title, but it represents a good step in the right direction toward releasing a much more polished product in subsequent Madden iterations from year to year.